been affected by isolation. This is my story. It is hard and confusing. Deep skies take a long time to heal. Sometimes I feel happy and sad at the same time. And that's okay. What's your story? What if your mommy and daddy were in prison? And they missed you, but you could see them very much and you were sad. Did you know every child with mom and dad in prison is 7 times more likely to be locked up in prison one day? I don't want to go to prison. And I don't want my mom and daddy to be in prison. Over half incarcerated parents had not have any visit with their children while in prison. What if this was your story? If the church doesn't rise up, we will be forgotten. What will you do to change the story?
One of my first memories is my dad wanting to throw my mom down the stairs. My mom did drugs, my dad did drugs. My dad was in and out of prison most of my life, and when he was out, he was never around. I was always wondering, what was wrong with me. I was molested when I was a child. I felt like unloved, kind of, in a way. Nobody cared about what happened to me. I feel like if he wouldn't have died, I probably would have killed myself. I went to foster care for a while, and I was in foster care twice. The visits is what I lived for. I never wanted to leave her. It's just the situation was so bad. I just remember it was my 8th birthday, and it was the best birthday ever because I was going home to my mom. I did really good until I got to elementary school, and then I started fighting really bad. I'd get expelled from school, and finally my mom was done with it. I started doing drugs really bad, really, really bad, and I was hiding it from my mom. I was 25, I got sentenced to a halfway house where I ran for the first time, and I caught an escape charge. I ran to my boyfriend who was still doing drugs and was drinking really bad, and he shot himself in the head in front of me. I went to prison 2 days later. I sat in prison and I had my baby, and I didn't know what I was going to do with her because my family is not in any condition to have a child. And I heard of New Horizons. I found God when I found New Horizons. I had to have 2 officers with me when I went and had my baby. They gave me about 2 hours with my daughter to hold her, And then they came in and they said I needed to put the baby down. I was heartbroken. And nobody wants to give up their child, right after you have them. And a second later, they showed up with the wheelchair and they wheeled me down to my cell. And all I thought about was Tesla. I love her so much, I want to see her blossom into that beautiful flower. And I'm going to do everything that I can to let her know that, I'm there for her, and I want her to know Jesus the way I do. If my life would have been different and I knew Jesus at a young age, everything would have been much different. Visits when I was incarcerated were good. It was hard watching my baby leave every time, but Sammy always made sure that I got my time with her. Even the Bible studies were great. I loved the Bible studies. I was so nervous coming out of the prison. I didn't even know how to function because I had been locked up for so long. Leona came and picked me up, and she brought me some clothes so I didn't have to wear prison clothes anymore. It's pretty much got me everything I needed to live for a second. Jesus gives me the strength every day that I need to, do what's right. He took away my cravings for drugs. I want Jesus to work through me so that I can show people, that people can change. And I am living proof. Addiction doesn't have to be the end of it.
We decided to become house parents because of what we felt God was calling in our lives.
The most meaningful thing that I do here at New Horizons is to be able to love on these babies who are not able to be with their parents and making sure that they get what they need emotionally, physically, and spiritually.
Right now we have 4 nannies living with us. We all have different personalities, but to speak to those personalities and let them be who they are, who God created them to be.
It had always been my dream to come and be a nanny and love on a little child. It's just a blessing to be able to all be on the same team and you're all in it together. Living with 4 babies in the house can be quite adventuresome at times.
I get to pray over these children when I'm rocking them, when I'm feeding them, or just playing with them. I get to speak words of life over them. I may be the only father figure that these children have in their lives.
I get to care for Logan and be like a second mama to him while his mom is incarcerated.
All you have to do is to be willing and to be stretched and to see these children as an opportunity and not a problem. They deserve the same opportunities that we had, but because of choices people made, they didn't have those opportunities, and so God is calling us to give them that chance in life and to speak truth over their lives and to speak to their true identity, because nobody was created to be a failure.
A verse that has always been on my heart is like James 1:27, where James writes that pure religion is taking care of orphans and widows. I think that's a calling for all Christians, for all believers.
One of the things that you get to do as a nanny is you have the privilege of going up to Denver once a week to take your child to visit his mom. Yeah, it's just really special to see all the moms with their babies.
My long-term goal for these children is that, the seeds that we plant while we have them, that God will continue to bring other people into their lives, especially if they go back to families that are not believers, that He would bring other people into their lives to water those seeds, and that He would bring to remembrance the prayers, the songs that the nannies and that us as house parents prayed and sang over them.
I think it is so awesome that we get to have the opportunity to make a difference in their life and possibly change generations. Does it take perfect people to be foster parents? No, not at all. All you need to do is be willing to sacrifice your own time and to love on these children as your own.
I want to thank each one of you who have picked up a prayer card and who have that, on your fridge or wherever it is, and you are making a difference by doing that.
Prayer is huge. There will always be a seed planted in those children, no matter where they're at.
Recently, we became aware of a growing need in our community for quality, affordable daycare. To meet this need and share the love of Jesus with more children, we began Children's Haven, located in Oasis Park. Bill and Sarah Lynn Lapp lead the daycare and Oasis Park. We currently have 5 children in our care and are planning to expand to accommodate our long waiting list.
Back home, I really liked what I did. I really liked making money and all that, but I just knew there was something missing.
I was one to be content just to be at home, but I was restless.
So the plans I had to come out here was to be a nanny, and God did not have that plan. Currently, I am doing the household assistant, and it's very stretching.
being a department manager in the Pueblo thrift store and just having to work with people on a daily basis has definitely pushed me to grow in ways that I wouldn't have if I would have just stayed at home and stuck with the same job I had.
New Horizons Ministries has 2 thrift stores, one in Canyon City and one in Pueblo, and the production center is at the Canyon City location.
My favorite part of the thrift store is definitely the people. I wake up every day and I can't wait to go to the store and just meet all my favorite people and work with them all day.
So since I work in furniture, we get a lot of couches that are have lots of cat hair and dog hair, and trust me, they really stink.
It helps to give child hope. I'm a mother to be able to support her child and be a productive member of the community and a body of Christ.
By folding sheets every day, I get to help provide support for moms coming out of prison that need extra help with getting back into society.
Folding those endless towels makes it possible for women to go into prison and be chaplains to the inmates.
Since being out here at New Horizons, it has better prepared me for my future. Just in the leadership that I am gaining from being out here, it's just really going to help me later on.
It's very satisfying to know that you're doing something not for yourself, but for the greater good of others.
Camp Week is basically a week for youth to come out here and experience what the VSers experience in just 1 week. You get to work on the household and you do get to see some sightseeing, which was very awesome.
One of my favorite pastimes is hiking, and there is an endless amount of hiking out here that you can do.
At home, I always relied on my parents for the spiritual part of my life, and then just coming out here, I had to completely rely on God.
One of the biggest lies for me is coming out here would not be successful. I have found out that this is very successful. It is very good to build God's kingdom.
One thing that was a big obstacle for me in the past was that I was not good enough. One of the first things I learned out here was that no matter what you do, you are made in the image of God, and everything you do with His Spirit in you, it matters.
I was a very evil, wicked person, and I didn't like that person. And I had to learn all over who I was. And since Jesus came to my life, I'm finding out who Rondell really supposed to be.
New Horizons Ministry has saved my life. I feel freer sitting here than I've ever felt in my life. I wouldn't even have a Bible if it wasn't for Chaplain Donna and Miss Virginia. If it wasn't for them being a light in my darkness, then I wouldn't have made it through here.
I used to live an evil criminal life. I used to live a life of a thug, gangster, drug addict, alcoholic, drug dealer. I mean, the list goes on. I'm currently serving a life without parole prison sentence. I've been down for 14 years now. Now Christ has given me life and uses me as His vessel to reach out to my family and lead them to Christ and many others.
My father was a heroin addict. I was able to watch his life and see what I didn't really want. But in a lot of ways, I mimicked what he did. I used drugs and I drank and stuff like that, and I just went in and out of jail. Now I have been incarcerated for 25 years.
Before I met Jesus, I was going in and out of church every now and then because of my grandmother. But I mean, I was a wreck. I was into drugs. I was into gangs. I was doing a lot of stupidity stuff. And then now I ended up in prison, and this is where I found Jesus. Chaplain Matt walked me through it, and I gave my life to the Lord, and He baptized me here. And it was an incredible journey that I'm still on to this day.
I come from a huge line of drug addiction. While I was a lesbian, I came in and talked with Chaplain Virginia, and we prayed and broke through that. And I don't have the cravings for having that relationship with a woman anymore. It's amazing. I don't know how many times without appointments that I have come into the door and just been like, I need help. I can't get through this crisis. I need guidance. And the chaplains are like, have a seat. Let's talk about this.
We won't know that people out in the world still care about us. Because it says in the Word, don't forget those in prison, and y'all not forgetting us.
This is the light within the prison, the darkness that surrounds this place. There's a lot of beautiful things that take place here. A lot of people become, who were enemies, become friends.
The difference that Jesus made in my life and continues to make is profound.
There's a lot of people that who are living in darkness out there, and this is their last chance, and they find it in here.
This is a big mission field. There is a lot of people who need to be saved, and a spiritual battle between not believing and believing. And that's the biggest mission we have.
I have 3 children, and I have a son that has followed in my footsteps and in his dad's footsteps. It takes just one of us to break that cycle, to be able to show our family a new life. And I believe I'm that one.
So I don't know what goes through your mind when you hear stories like that. Those stories are so different from my story. Most of my life, I was just sheltered from stories like that, stories of addiction and pain and imprisonment. It was in 2004 where that changed, and I began to care for children whose mothers were in prison. There's something about it when your life personally intersects with lives, with places that are broken, that it touches a place deep inside of you. We can have programs, we can have outreaches where we get out of our safe zone and we go out and we minister to them, and then we come back, but it's a totally different thing when this becomes a part of your life. Addiction suddenly looks different when you've adopted a child and there's consequences that they face because of those addictions. Homelessness, it looks different when you know that a biological parent is on the street somewhere. Incarceration even looks different when you visited the mother of the child that is now forever in your home. It's a different feeling. There's something different about that. When it comes right down to it, the only difference from my life to those that we just talked about, the only difference is it's only Jesus. If Jesus was not in my life or in the lives of my parents or my grandparents, that would be my story. I have nothing over them. So Christianity all of a sudden it's not about religion anymore. It's not about a bunch of do's and don'ts or going to church on Sunday morning. Although that all may be important. The important thing is, like, what would Jesus do with these stories? Is my response, neither do I condemn thee, go and sin no more? Is that where I'm at? Or am I wrapped up in something else that can't even see that? And so I really think the heart of Jesus is for us to step into those situations. As messy as they are, they're incredibly messy, and we don't have the answers, but we step into those situations anyway, and we allow God to use us and to make a difference in someone else's life. I'm no one special. We're all in this. We're all in this together. God can use any one of us if we're just available.